Bobby spoke a little bit about, at the age of 7, my mother took me to the Children's Hospital. And when we went in there, it was 1974, and they took my blood and they did exploratory surgery. They opened me up and closed me up and basically said to my mother, you know, you can take him to see his grandparents in Ireland, and you can take him to Disney World if you want, and it doesn't look good, there's not much time left. And my mother said, no, I want to try this. And it wasn't until I was at the age of 21 when I went to the Perini Clinic when they came in and explained to me about my treatment. And they told me that in 1974, Burkitt's lymphoma, of which I had, the survival rate was about 15 to 20%. And they told me at the age of 21, a few years later, the survival rate was significantly higher. And today, I believe the survival rate's about 90% of survival for Burkitt's lymphoma. And there's probably somebody in this room that worked on that. And there's definitely some of your companies in this room worked on that, creating the opportunity for drugs and the right mix to put it in to make sure that we can keep people living longer. And I want to thank you for that personally, or I wouldn't be standing up here as the mayor of Boston. But I also want to thank all of you for the great advances. You know, Bobby spoke about the funding from the federal government, and that's very important for us to keep working on. But also, Massachusetts receives 20% of all U.S. biotech venture capital money in 2013. We are home to the best hospitals and universities. I brag about our hospitals all the time, both before I became mayor of the city of Boston, but certainly as the mayor of the city of Boston. It's important. There's a lot of growth in our city. We got to continue that growth. We need to make sure that we have Vertex down on the waterfront. We have Dana-Farber expanding on Longwood. We need to make sure that we continue that growth here in the city of Boston and in the region, not just in Boston, but in the region. But as mayor of the city of Boston, my job is to make sure we create more opportunities in Boston. I want to thank you. I look forward to partnering with you as the mayor of the city of Boston. I know Mayor Menino worked extremely hard on the Innovation District, and we need to continue to grow the Innovation District. We need to continue to make sure we attract more businesses and companies. I had a meeting yesterday with mayors from around the state at the Parkman House. We probably had about 15 to 20 mayors there, and we're talking about how do we regionally go out and attract business to this area, to Boston, to Massachusetts. Because if it's one of the other cities or towns was able to grow their industry, it helps us all. It helps us all on the bottom line. So I'm going to work on that approach, looking to go regionally. I'm not going to look to Cambridge and Somerville to say, okay, we're going to try and move businesses over here. I'm going to look, how do we attract more businesses? I'm going to sit with Bobby Coughlin, we already have in the Biotech Council, is how do we really focus on medical manufacturing devices? We haven't capitalized on that here in Massachusetts. And we have opportunities. In my campaign, I spoke about creating new opportunities in different areas around the Dudley area and Mattapan area. And those are areas that we could attract businesses to come in, create something special there by manufacturing jobs. We will train and help train the workers to work in those facilities, and we will be able to attract companies in because the cost of construction is a little cheaper there. The cost of land is a little cheaper there. And we're able to do this and attract the company from California or wherever we're going to try and attract them from. You certainly have my commitment to work both here in Boston and in Washington, D.C. To help attract funds, work with our congressional delegation. I certainly will work with my colleagues in the legislature to see how do we continue to bring more dollars and more money for research and more money for bricks and mortar here in this city, and we're going to do that. I just want to thank all of you for your leadership. Thank you for what you do in your industry. I don't think people say thank you enough, and I know the companies that are represented in this room today. Thank you for your research, because your research is saving lives. Your research is moving our city and our state forward, moving our country forward. So I want to thank you. As the mayor of the city of Boston, I'm ready to move forward here with this partnership. I'm ready to sit down and work as hard as I can to make sure we attract more opportunities to this great city and more opportunities to this Commonwealth. I just want to say one last thing. I want to thank Bobby Coughlin. I want to thank him for his leadership in this industry. I want to thank him for his guidance in this industry. I know I can speak on behalf of my former colleagues in the legislature. That's kind of hard to say. We want to thank him as well. And I do want to just say one thing. My Boston accent is a hell of a lot better than Bobby Coughlin's. Thank you.